Good afternoon, everybody. This is George Veitengruber from Veitengruber Law. I am thrilled to have Betsy Giordano from Remax Gateway joining on this week's community chat. Betsy and I go way back and have some crazy people in common that go back to childhood that we figured we actually inadvertently were connected through. She is an amazing realtor that wears many hats and is very passionate about real estate. We overlap in the area of Homes for Heroes and also the collaborative divorce law. And I thought she would be an excellent person to bring on today to talk to us about all of the chaotic changes we're experiencing in the wonderful world of real estate, fresh into the summer when we already would have had chaos. Now we've thrown this fun curveball called COVID. So Betsy, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, George, for having me. It's a whole new world these days.
Strange life, strange things. Let's figure out how to survive in them.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
How are you doing it?
Thank God my family's healthy, so I have no complaints. It's just, a little challenging to sell houses these days and make sure that everybody's safe, but we're doing it. We're managing it. It's a lot of masks, gloves, no shoes or booties, and social distancing.
If you could tell me how to get rid of my COVID-10 so I have no booty, that would be great.
You're funny.
You're talking about different booties. Oh,
we're talking about very different booties. Mine might be a COVID-5, but yeah.
It's the worst reverse diet I've had since the freshman 10. Or the freshman 20.
That's funny.
You pick.
That's funny.
Yeah. So you and I have talked a couple times over the last couple of months, and I know that you're hustling. I know that you're being pretty creative with it. How have you been handling this with you and with your clients, and how are you juggling home life on top of all of that?
Well, I kind of took a whole month off because real estate basically just shut down from I was looking at my calendar, March 16th to mid-April. It kind of was what I kind of call like the end of the world started. But since the middle of April, people have risen up and they are with a vengeance looking to buy homes, looking to relocate. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think people are realizing that this may or may not be a on again, off again situation with the quarantine, and that they want someplace that's comfortable for them and their family. There's a lot of people from New York City that are trying to escape. And the word I use is escape because it really is escape. Whether they are looking for summer rentals or year-round rentals, or most of them are actually looking just to relocate permanently down here because it's such a really nice family-oriented, spacious, there's yards. People can go into yards. So I think that's a big reason is people are realizing that their homes might be too small. Another reason is that the interest rates for mortgages are ridiculously low. Like,
right.
Talking 2.6, 3%, that's insane. That's cheap money. So it's a great time to be able to get that first home or reach for that second home that you want if you want to expand your family, etc. So it looks a lot different when I sell a home these days, a lot different. I usually would meet my clients in the office face to face, and now I'm meeting them on Zoom because it's hard to be 6 feet apart in a small office. So we're meeting on Zoom the initial time. We're going through the whole qualification as to why they want to buy, why they want to sell, etc. And then we'll go see homes. And usually the first time I meet them is when we meet outside of our car. I'm usually a hugger and a handshaker. No, that's against, obviously can't do that. So it's behind my realtor life mask, my gloves, and my booties, the feet booties that, we'll go in, we'll see a home, And many people love touching and feeling things, and now that's really off limits. Even with gloves, we try and minimize it because these are people's domiciles, and they don't want to have to come home and clean everything again. Chances are you don't have COVID, but God forbid you do. Why infect somebody, you know? So we're just really trying to be very careful. The homeowners, who I had no problem with having them home, especially if they have such pride and they want to show their home to my clients, I'm like, you got to get out. You can't be there. You know, less people want me and maybe one or two other people, and absolutely no kids, because they just are sniffling and, you know, got their colds and sneeze and whatever.
Touching everything.
Yeah, using the bathrooms, you know. No, we don't want that right now. So we're working as well as we can to make sure everyone's safe. I've had a few home inspections, and you're under the mask for 4 hours during a home inspection, but it's okay, it's fine. Go outside, take a deep breath, and go back in and finish the job. It's not the end of the world. I really like being able to help people during this hard time. It took me a little time to figure out how to do so, but now I am. I'm investing a lot more in my advertising. And that I've always advertised my listings, but now I'm advertising them in a different way because we can't hold open houses. That's completely off limits. The virtual tour open houses, they kind of work, but you have to make sure the people are online at the right time. So what I've been doing is I do, for most listings, a drone if it's an interesting location, but all listings get multiple pictures, but then it's something called an eye guide. So it's an interactive floor plan. So you can click on, you know, the living room and see exactly where that leads into. So it's just like being in the house. It's as close to being in the house. I got to tell you, yeah, exactly, in quotes. I got to tell you that it's helping me to support my sellers in getting them lots of showings. So that's, you know, how we're doing it.
Sorry. The balance right now between people, right, is how many people are relying on that that virtual showing versus insisting that they come to a live walkthrough of some sort? And are you still receiving any pushback from prospective sellers, or are they starting to loosen up on that too? Or did you ever have a problem?
Yeah, so I had sellers who didn't want people in the house. And I said, then why are you going to put your house on the market? Because even with the eye guide, which I love, and I'll tell you how I'm working with that at first. I love the eye guide, but people, if they're really interested, they have to be allowed in the home. So
right.
I've worked with my sellers and said, here's how we're going to do it. No one's going to touch things. They all have to sign this new document that New Jersey Association of Realtors put out called COVID Hold Harmless, which basically says that, you know, if anybody gets ill, you're holding them harmless, you know, quite frankly. It's an important thing to have, because it just, I think what it does is it sets the mindset to the buyers who are walking into the seller's domicile to be like, okay, this is no joke. I have to be respectful. I'm not going to go open every single cabinet drawer in the kitchen. You know, I'll open one to see if it's a smooth close or what type of close it is, and that's it. So we're just really, you know, limiting, and that's how it goes. The sellers that I'm working with, they're calling the shots on the times of their showings. Normally I'd be like, listen, let everybody in. Now it's a lot of fatigue for them and a lot of stress for them, because after the showings, they want to come in and clean every knob, especially if they have little kids, clean every knob in that house and, you know, Lysol the house like crazy. So, you know, we set up a block that the home is going to be shown.
Right.
And the agents fill that in. And if it doesn't work, we'll have to go to the next day, but it gives the seller some peace.
Yeah, that was one of the cool creative things I had heard from somebody, effectively setting up almost a curbside open house where everyone had their 15 or 20-minute block.
Exactly.
And the next person was in the car ready to see it. And that way you're inconveniencing your homeowner at a one-time shot for 3 hours to go hide and get out of the house, rather than the 20 minutes here, the next day, here's another one, the next day. Because honestly, I don't know when open houses, the old school open houses, are going to come back. It doesn't seem anytime on the near horizon.
No, I mean, if you think about it, you just let anybody walk into the house. Yeah. And at an open house, it's usually me and a mortgage rep, but there might be somebody that goes to the family room while I'm in the dining room with another couple. You don't know if they're touching, the walls or whatever. It's not happening right now. Right. So before people even see the house, I always ask the agent or my clients, listen, did you see the eye guide? Have you walked around the house virtually? Because if they haven't, they got to go do that and then report back to me if they still want to see it. Just another way of vetting people. And
the other vet thing that I've seen a lot more this time around, obviously, becomes making sure they've got their pre-qual in hand. I remember being that, bored Sunday looky-loo that would be like, oh, I've always wanted to see my neighbor's house. None of that shit's going on anymore.
That's not happening. Not letting neighbors in. No way. Not happening. Nope. Unless they want to buy. If they want to buy, then that's different.
All right. Just get your pre-qual letter and then you can go visit as many houses as you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is just another challenge that we're dealing with. As you saw in my bio, there's been a couple of little challenges that I've dealt with throughout my 20-year real estate career. And this is just another one, and we'll figure it out.
I wanted to, before we lost it, I wanted to circle back to that, your comment about New York, because if you think, I feel this has been a Jersey Shore tradition for a long time, but now it's on hyperdrive. It used to be people from New York would find themselves moving to Jersey City and Hoboken, and the Hoboken Jersey City crowd would find themselves moving to the Jersey Shore. Right. And now I had one last week who it's a New York firefighter. He's got a place to crash when he has to be up there for shifts, right. But he's going all the way down to Forked River because he can get land, lots of land. And this idea of not being on top of each other almost makes it even more desirable to find yourself in Monmouth, Ocean County than ever before.
For sure.
All right, good.
I
I wanted to
think
make
it's
sure.
just going to enhance property values in Monmouth and Ocean County even more than it was before, because we're close to New York, we're close to Philadelphia, but like you said, there's land. You want to put a pool in, sure, you can be in your backyard with your family and it's not an issue because you quarantine with them. You're not going to get sick from them and you can enjoy the pool together, but you don't want neighbors and friends over.
I mean, you do want neighbors and friends over, you just can't. Right.
Or you don't want to be in tight quarters in New York City.
Yeah. So we will shift to the other hats. I'll shift to the hat you're not expecting. So your son is at CBA. I'm a CBA grad. I was talking to one of the teacher alumni from CBA, and they had to cancel their senior walkout, much to everybody's sadness. But I don't know if you saw it a couple of hours ago, Murphy lifted the restriction and graduations a go after sometime in mid-July. How did he enjoy CBA, and how was that last month or two of lockdown CBA?
So he loves CBA. He is heavily involved in Pegasus, which is their theater program. Yep. And he was the costumes manager for this past show, which was, and I'm losing, Footloose. And they were only able to do 3 out of the 6 shows. So they were supposed to do the show that next Thursday. And it was, I think, Monday that they decided they were going to stop school. And then they slowly, it was just, like an oncoming train. You saw it happening and you couldn't help it. it was everything's being closed down. So oddly enough, they left everything there, and still the food that they had there, the costumes that they had, everything's still at school, all laid out because they haven't been able to go back. He's sad. He misses his, camaraderie with his fellow students. One of the reasons why you send your kid to CBA is because it teaches them, the camaraderie, or any high school for that matter. When your kid's in high school, you want them to have that camaraderie and build those awesome memories. And, he's building memories, don't get me wrong, but they're Zoom memories. It's something he'll be able to tell his grandkids someday.
In such a strange way. And I'll say it, right? I've been out of CBA for 29 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, God, that feels old. But those are some of my closest friends, and those are the people that I hearken back to. And it's something where I've said it a lot. The badge of CBA and being able to use that in your future, it goes a long way. Even if somebody doesn't know who you are,
sure.
If they were at CBA and you were at CBA, you've basically got a foot in the door already.
Right.
Yeah.
You hope, But, I have my girlfriends that I've been friends with since high school. So, and I went to Ocean Township High School, and, we're thick as thieves, I think the phrase is. And we have that bond. We laugh about things that happen in high school. And, I don't know if they're even going to go back to school next year. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the great messy variable. And
right.
The conversations on that are so complicated, because it's always a balance on safety and the logistics of how to make it a safe environment. And I was having this conversation a couple of weeks ago with one of my clients, and she's a bus driver, and it blew my mind. All of a sudden, she said this staggered schedule thing as it's being proposed isn't going to work. And I was like, okay. And she's like, how do I pick up the kids for the afternoon and drop them off without them coming in contact with the kids who just left from the morning session? You need twice as many buses, or you need a different staggering in order to be on the road to pick up certain students at one time and being able to drop off students at another time. It's going to be a very weird complication, and I don't envy them for having to figure it out. I'm glad I don't have to.
Me too. Yeah. Although it's going to affect both of our kids, all of our kids.
Yeah. Now that we've dead-ended a topic in education that neither one of us is qualified to have, let's shift back to things we can talk shit about and kind of understand. I wanted to first talk about Home for Heroes. As we obviously just came off of Memorial Day weekend, and your brother served. My father says he bravely defended the shores of California during Vietnam. There were no incursions in California while he was guarding the coast.
That's good.
So thank you to your brother. And I know that his connection to the military is part of what brought you to Home for Heroes.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of confusion about that program because of a lot of the well-deserved celebratory nature of first responders now. Why don't you tell me about the program in your own words?
Sure. So Homes for Heroes has nothing to do with COVID-19, although everybody that is fighting on the front lines, thank you. But Homes for Heroes really was born out of 9/11. And I was actually a teacher in Long Branch to second graders during 9/11. And as I was, a couple of days ago, I was reflecting, and I remember their little faces, the next day on September 12th, how they were so scared. What's going to happen, Mrs. Giordano? And so that's something that teachers have had to deal with. The main reason that really hit me with Homes for Heroes was my brother. My brother was in Afghanistan for a year, from 2009 to 2010, I think it was. And that had a huge impact on me. It had a huge impact on him, but it had a huge impact on me, and a huge impact on me when he came home, because he was lucky. We are a close-knit family, and we were there to be like, hey, what do you need? How can we help you? You want to buy your first house? Here, here's how you buy your first house. We were able to help him and work the way along. But there's a lot of heroes, especially vets, that might have a hard time. So in my small little way, and it's very small, I found this program called Homes for Heroes out of Minnesota. And I became a local affiliate. And then I got you to be a local affiliate. And then I got Barbara Rittman to be a local affiliate, and Miranda Verderam, Farron McGee, and Jose Rodriguez. So you guys are my team, and we assist buyers, sellers, people that need to refi, that are in law enforcement. And I'm talking about FBI, local police, support staff as well, because they're heroes too. They're dealing with it every day. Fire people, firefighters, both active, retired, and volunteer. Anyone in the military, and also support staff for the military, because they work really hard and they protect our military and they need to be awarded as well. Teachers, principals, college professors, etc., along with the support staff, and our beloved medical professionals, right down from the janitor to the CEO. Whatever you need, I'm here to help. We're here to help you. We're here to advise you. So what we do is basically give a huge discount to the buyer or seller of the property. If I'm selling a property, that seller gets a 25% discount on their commission from me. When you're closing the property for the seller, you give them a discount on their legal work. Same thing when a property is being purchased, the buyer will get an award, about 25% of my commission, an award to them in a check from Homes from Heroes. And Miranda gives a discount. She's the title person. Barbara Rittman gives a discount. She's the mortgage as well. Jose Rodriguez, he's my credit guy, because a lot of times people come to us and they have really poor credit, and he helps bring their credit up. He's a vet as well. He's a Marine. And Farron McGee is a home inspector. And I'm ever expanding this group because I think it's a fantastic way of paying it forward and giving it back to people. It's a way of me honoring my brother. And he's actually been able to take advantage of Homes for Heroes. So I'm really happy with that. So that's, some people have said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad, this is so nice you're doing this because of COVID. I was doing it last year. I started in January of 19. I was researching it from January of 2018, just to make sure it was, real, and it's real. So far, we've been able to help several local police officers, vets, teachers, medical professionals. I haven't touched on the firefighters yet, although I'd like to. So it's going well, and it's a way of paying it forward.
And I mean, it's not chump change. It's a significant check that they're getting basically at or right after closing.
And you see the checks that go out.
Yeah. So we're talking, there's your furniture budget. There's a little bit of your paint and spackle budget if you need to do some quick changes. It's an amazing program. And obviously one of the things I'm bummed out about is we had a launch event that should have taken place, I think, at the very end of April. That got 25th. Scrubbed as March 25th. Oh, that was 2 months ago. Today's March 82nd. So I look forward to the time when we can bring that event back and kick some ass with it, because I think it's such a great message, and it's such a generous give back at a time when it's absolutely needed.
One really nice thing is when you're buying the home, the awards you receive can actually be used towards your closing costs. There's a way of doing that. So that's a really nice thing as well. If you're a few $1,000s short, and yes, I said $1,000, if you're a few $1,000s short, we can figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So going to the other hat, and let's just talk divorce. You know, I've spent plenty of time in the house with my wife, so it feels like a good time to talk divorce. You and your husband, same conversation. We're all sick of each other, and we need more
I'm
space.
not sick of my husband. Talk about yourself.
Oh, I'm sick of your husband. So you're also a founder of the Collaborative Law as an affiliate in New Jersey, which oddly enough also started out of Minnesota. So apparently Minnesota comes out with some great
Minnesota
programs.
comes out with great ideas. So there's a woman named Linda Piff who is a dynamo, and she started Collaborative Divorce Professionals of New Jersey, and I was one of the founding members of that group with her. I was on the ground floor. You know, it happened. I got involved in this program in a really weird way. I had a girlfriend say to me, you know, I need to sell the house. We're getting a divorce. And I said, but why do you have to sell the house? She's like, well, why don't you want the listing? I said, I didn't say I don't want the listing. I said, why do you have to sell the house? Why can't you buy him out, or he buy you out, or assume the mortgage? And she was like, what? She's like, you don't want to sell the house? I said, I didn't say that, but I want the most important thing is to keep, if you can stay in the house, stay in the house. So I was able to refer them to a mortgage rep, and that mortgage rep then told me about, hey, you know, there's collaborative divorce, and it's a fantastic program. I've been involved with it since 2011. I went through some a 2-day training to learn about it, because in your idea of divorce, you think in a courtroom, fighting, giving a lot of money to the attorneys, or you think of mediation, where quite frankly, the attorney is there, correct me if I'm wrong, the attorney is there and both sides are talking, but the attorney's not advising either side.
The attorneys in collaborative are there to help and facilitate without the blood and gore that goes through a typical messy divorce. And they actually have a pact, it's part of their contract, that says, if this is going to turn combative instead of collaborative, you have to fire us, we will fire ourselves, and you'll have to start fresh with new attorneys.
Yep.
Because this is about adults sitting at the table for a civil mediation.
It's a great program because there's mental health professionals that are at the divorce attorney's fingertips. And if you've got some kids and having some issues with parenting issues or divorce issues, those mental health professionals, who are fantastic, can really jump in and help them. I come in, and my goal, quite honestly, is to try, if they want to save the house, let them save the house, let them keep the house. I don't want to sell their house. That's their family home. You know, that's where they made all their memories, good or bad or indifferent. But if they want to keep it, Barbara, who's also the collaborative divorce mortgage rep with me, we'll put our heads together along with the attorneys as to how to do this. If they want to sell the house, I will get them the highest price possible, don't get me wrong, and then we'll set them into another area. My main thing is, I want people to land on their feet. I want them to land on their feet. So that's why I like collaborative divorce, because it helps people land on their feet and keep more of their own money instead of paying it to everybody else.
I like it for the exact same reason. And it's a math exercise. If you can get the emotion out of it, yes, you can work out the math as to how to maintain 2 households instead of 1, and see if the house is savable. And I think you're absolutely right. The instinct usually for these people is, well, I've got to get rid of the house. But if you look around at rents in Monmouth County right now, sometimes saving the house is cheaper than renting somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, interest rates are low. You can refinance it. There's ways of doing it. If you want to stay in the house, we'll do our best to make that happen.
So yeah, save the house. Get a clean divorce and save the house. That's all we're saying. That's our great advice for today. That's it.
That's what we're saying. Yes. But I don't profess to be an attorney anyway. I'm just a lowly realtor.
You know, I'm a lowly attorney that can talk shit about anything, but sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
You sure certainly do.
So what do you see coming down the pike? What's the next 3 months of real estate look like?
So there have been quite a few people that have been saying that the sky is falling. And it's been written in the newspapers, and I don't see the sky falling, actually. I see maybe some clouds coming in. I don't think we're in for any sort of the 2018, what I call the real estate depression, because you had a whammy there. You had Fort Monmouth moving out, which was just horrible.
Brutal.
And the federal government said to people, oh, it's 2008. Sell your house for $300,000 if you need to. We'll give you the other $100,000 that it was worth in 2005 when we decided to move Fort Monmouth. And so property values tanked. And then, you had the fact that people could fog a mirror and get a mortgage. That just made my stomach turn. If I saw that, I ran away. It's nothing like that. Lenders there's tons of pain in the what work that has to get done for someone to buy a home, but it's for their protection. It really is. And the interest rates are low. It's a great time. I don't think prices are out of whack. And if you buy with your head and not with your heart, you're going to be fine.
I think the prices are good right now. And I think that low inventory is creating a little bit of a soft bubble for sellers, that they're getting above ask if they're showing it right, because there's such a pool of buyers, but not necessarily as much inventory in the right areas that people would want.
Right.
Here's my concern. My concern is with these forbearance programs and these forgiveness issues, coupled with record unemployment numbers. Once these 3 or 4 months are up, we're going to see a whole swath of unemployed people that go into foreclosure. And I'm sure there's going to be programs that come out that are going to speed bump that process. I think we learned something from 2008 in that, but it doesn't mean that all of those homes are going to be saved. We're going to have the same problems that we had 10 years ago. And I'm hopeful that that will not happen so rapidly that it depresses the market again. But I'm a little worried that we might see a shift. It might not happen until 2021, but we might see a shift because of a newfound pile of foreclosed inventory again.
Yes, I agree that there will be clouds moving in, like I said, but I don't think it's going to be anything like 2008. Some people are going to find themselves in a bad situation, and we're going to be there to help catch them if we can. Again, trying to help them land on their feet. But I don't really know what it's going to hold. What I can tell you is, if you can, I like what Fannie and Freddie Mac are doing, in the sense that, as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but as I understand it, if you're in forbearance and you pay that money back, okay, you can refinance,
right,
and take advantage of these lower interest rates. If you're in forbearance and can't pay the money back, they'll stick it to the end of the loan. So instead of it being, a 30-year loan, it's 30 years and 3 months, 30 years and 4 months, whatever it is.
So just a note for anybody listening, those are the federally backed programs. That's where that exists, where there's the potential for up to 12 months of deferment and everything being put on the back end. The private lenders don't have those same compliance issues. And that's the market that I see greater concern in, is that some of those guys said, we're not giving you any time. You want to break? We're too small of a bank to afford to float you. And there are people that are worried now, albeit there's no foreclosure going on right now. There's no sheriff sales being scheduled. So people have time. They're just, I worry how quickly people will be able to rebound and get to their mortgage payments. And that might cause a longer term crash. That's the wrong word. A speed bump in the future.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, George. Let me turn the tables on you. So what is your thought if someone knows they're not going to be able to repay those 4 or 5 months? Do you suggest they put their house up for sale now and try and purchase something or rent something at a cheaper number? What's your suggestion?
So the complication of that, obviously, it all comes down to equity in the home and
Right.
and lifestyle, and are they living where they're living because they need to, or can they do a step down? As a society that really 3 months ago learned that they're living paycheck to paycheck and they should never ever do that again, a lot of people have been caught flat-footed, and this situation's scaring them. The first thing I always tell them is communicate with your lender, because
Right.
they gave us this 4-month stopgap up front, but here we are, we're coming up on the 3rd month being over and those payments coming due. If you reach out to your lender again, they see that too, and they probably are going to find another program for you. If there's equity in the home and you have another place to go, you should sell it. If you don't have equity in the home, in New Jersey, because we're a judicial foreclosure state, I can drag out the procedure for 12 months, 18 months. That means more time and opportunity to fix it.
Right.
The cool thing that my office has done over the years is we have people walk in our office the day of a sheriff sale, and those people actually wind up saving their houses if it's possible, because we know how to use all those programs. But that's it. Don't duck and cover. Don't put your head in the sand and say, well, I hope it's over and I hope the government comes to bail me out. Go talk to a licensed professional that understands how to help it. We're here for that. Obviously, this isn't the purpose of my talking to you today, but
still,
this is
a community.
that's what we do.
Yeah. It's an important thing that the community needs to know about.
And thank you for reminding people of that.
You're welcome.
So what else you got? What do you want to talk about? I've hit all the real estate. Do you want to talk about the businesses reopening? You want to run away from it? What do you think's next?
I think personally that with masks and with social distancing, why can Walmart be open and not the small mom and pop store?
I agree with you, by the way.
I don't get it. This is very real, no doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's very real. But if Walmart, and I'm not picking on Walmart, but if Walmart can be open, why can't, my little place up the street so I can go get some groceries real fast be open?
And I think, right, this is the thing that scares the shit out of me right now, is I think people are blurring the mask conversation with the business conversation. And I don't think it's all or nothing. I think every small business should be open right now, as long as they have a uniform criteria for social distancing, sanitization, wearing masks to limit the spread. Like, I'm not telling you to keep your business closed. I'm telling you to wear a fucking mask if you're going to have it open.
Right.
And it scares me that people are thinking that their liberties are being infringed on during a public health pandemic because they were asked to put a mask on their face. And if you can put a mask on your face and you're a mom and pop and you have you lay out your criteria, I think you should be open. And I think you can demonstrate it.
Yes.
What I am slightly more fearful of is some of those businesses that aren't equipped to reopen. They just won't be able to figure out the proper criteria. And B, the ones that would have to do such radical changes to their business that the expense of reopening is greater than riding it out. And I hate it. I feel
That's
really,
a
really
shame.
bad. It's a horrible shame that I don't know how those people are actually going to come back from this.
I think the sooner we get those people or tell those people that they can reopen, the less, issues they're going to have. We've got to get them reopen. I know this is very real, but this is something we're going to have to deal with, I think, now for the foreseeable future. And keeping those businesses, telling them they must stay closed, that kind of does infringe upon their civil liberties, unless it's done the right way. CDC requirements, social distancing, the whole bit. But I don't want to go to I can go to Walmart and buy clothes, but I can't go to my little boutique up the street and buy clothes, and they're suffering.
Yeah, and I agree, and it's the burden goes to the boutique of, all right, how are you going to have somebody
Yes.
clean? How are they not touching everything? We're back to the house argument, right? Of don't touch every knob and open every door. Don't look at 20 different cute pairs of capris. There's a word.
Right.
Don't look at 20 pairs of capris, because somebody's going to have to touch every single one of those and clean them because you did. It's going to be a burden, but if they can demonstrate the burden, you have to have faith that they're going to ethically run the businesses properly. But wear a fucking mask, pretty please.
Yeah. I even think that to a limited extent, gyms should be let to be open, with lots of cleaning and limited amounts of people in there. But I think for our mental state, our sanity, I can't wait to get back and go pump iron in my gym. I love it. And I think if normally if there's 20 people allowed in the gym, cut it down to 10. And everybody is responsible for cleaning everything. And at the end of the day, it's all sanitized again. It's going to cost the businesses money to buy those sanitizers, etc. But then let them, like you said, put the burden back on them. Let them open.
Yeah, I think with what Attila did to open, the knee-jerk reaction is that they did something crazy and reckless. But in watching the videos, I thought he laid out a great plan. I thought the thought and care that went into it made a lot of sense.
It did.
Here's my fear of what happened, though. The fact that he put a lot of thought and care into it doesn't assure us that every other small business or small gym is going to put the same care and thought into it. And because we don't have a really solid tracing program yet, just because you were healthy when you walked into the gym doesn't mean that you still can't get it from another source. And then, scarily enough, infect people at the gym, or worse, infect people that aren't members of the gym that didn't sign off an assumption of rights, waiving their protections, which won't stand up in court, by the way. But I know. But you can't have the non-gym owner get it from somebody that was at the gym without it blowing back to the original source. And those are those crazy repercussions that are trickle downs that we're making that balance of what's the percentage of risk that's acceptable and who gets to assume that percentage of risk. Gyms scare me.
What about the food stores?
Right. And I think you're absolutely right that there is a point of hypocrisy here as to who could stay open and who couldn't. Food obviously being essential, but Walmart and Super Target, the Target by us, they actually walled off the other sections. The only thing you could get to was the groceries. So if you walk in a Walmart and you can shop for clothes, that shit shouldn't be happening right now. It's supposed to be about food, right? Or booze, because somehow booze is essential for all those homeschooling teachers. But the hypocrisy becomes that those big outfits were trusted with doing it, whereas the bodega down the road wasn't somehow. They should have had the equal footing if they could demonstrate, here's the rules. And that's the problem too. Nobody set the rules for us. here's the rules for compliance. And if you can certify these compliance, we're going to do spot checks on you. And as long as you're living within those rules, congratulations, you can stay open. But the second you fail those, we're going to close you as a health concern.
But isn't that like any restaurant per se, when they do spot checks and they close you on the spot? So I think that one of the things that are going to need to be done is each town is going to have to hire more health inspectors. I know that means more property taxes, but let's talk realistically. What's more important, our health or increase in property taxes? I know property taxes are high in New Jersey. I get it. But in order to make this happen, the health inspectors are going to have to go in to every store and make sure, okay, these are the systems I have in place. If the health inspector said it doesn't meet CDC guidelines, they can't reopen.
Right. I agree with you. And now we just, have to get Phil to agree with us, and then we'll be open again.
Come on, Phil, you got to do this. Let's get a good plan for our people in Jersey.
I know he's watching.
I'm sure he is.
Do you have any parting thoughts, Bets?
Stay safe and, don't catch the Rona, and stay sane.
I think those are some good words.
Saturday.
And just remember, check your booties at the door and do whatever you can to stay safe, be smart, and keep your businesses running. Betsy, I adore you. Thank you for spending this time with me. And I can't wait to see you on the other side of this.
Yeah, a real life closing.
Yes, that would be amazing. I can't wait to hug.
I know. Take care, George. Thank you.
Bye, hon. Be well.
Bye.